You probably use this app every single day. But what if I told you it was created by someone who once had to rely on food stamps just to eat? Today, we're diving into the incredible story of Jan Koum, the mind behind WhatsApp. And trust me, it's one of the most amazing stories in all of modern tech. I mean, seriously, how does someone go from living on food stamps to creating a $19 billion app? That incredible contrast. That's the journey we're going to explore. It's a story about resilience, about getting rejected, and about a relentless focus on one simple idea. To really understand the man behind the app, we've got to go back, way back, because his story doesn't start in some sunny California garage, but in the harsh reality of the Soviet Union. So Jan Koum was born in Kyiv, Ukraine back in 1976, but the date isn't the important part here. It's the environment. Imagine growing up under constant government surveillance, where the idea of privacy was basically a fantasy. That experience shaped his entire worldview, and it would become the absolute core of his most famous creation. Then, in 1992, at just 16 years old, he made the huge leap and moved to the United States. But, the American dream didn't exactly roll out the red carpet. The family settled in California, and man, it was a struggle. We're talking extreme poverty. They were living on government welfare and food stamps. His mother worked as a babysitter, and John took on part-time jobs just to help them scrape by. This was not an easy start by any stretch. And yet, it's right here, in the middle of all that difficulty, that a new chapter begins. Koum discovered a passion that would change everything for him, and the way he chased it was, well, anything but conventional. He got totally hooked on computers and networking, but he didn't have money for expensive textbooks. So what did he do? He'd go to a used bookstore, buy the manuals, study them like crazy, and then return them when he was done to get his money back. The drive is just incredible. He did eventually enroll in university and even managed to land a job at Ernst & Young as a security tester while he was still a student. And this next part tells you everything about his focus. He saw a real-world opportunity right in front of him and made a super bold choice. He dropped out of university to dive headfirst into his tech career. That piece of paper, a formal degree, just wasn't going to be part of his story. He landed a job at Yahoo, and he stayed there for almost a decade working as an infrastructure engineer, learning how massive internet systems work from the inside out. And two critical things happened there. First, he met his future co-founder, Brian Acton. And second, he started to really despise the ad-driven business models that were taking over the internet. So after 9 years, he was ready for a change. But what happened next could have been a total dead end. Instead, it became the most important turning point of his entire life. After leaving Yahoo, both Koum and Acton applied for jobs at the hottest company in Silicon Valley at the time, Facebook. And they were both rejected. Can you imagine that? Turned away by the very company that would later change their lives forever. So, what do you do after a rejection like that? Is that it? Is your career in tech over before it really gets a second wind? Not even close. In 2009, Koum got an iPhone, and he was fascinated by the brand new App Store. A total light bulb moment. And so right there, on his birthday, February 24th, 2009, he went ahead and founded a new company, WhatsApp Inc. The name itself was just a simple, playful take on the phrase, "What's up?" And funny enough, the initial idea wasn't even for messaging. It was just a simple app where you could share your status with your contacts. But that tiny seed was about to grow into something massive. So let's talk about how this simple idea absolutely exploded into a global phenomenon. It was all built on a few really simple but powerful principles. This was the WhatsApp philosophy, and it was a direct reaction to everything he hated about his old job. The interface had to be dead simple. There would be absolutely no ads, ever. The service had to be fast and reliable, and most important of all, user privacy was everything. You can almost hear his childhood in the Soviet Union speaking in that last one. And it worked like a charm. The app's growth was explosive, not because of some big marketing campaign, but just from word of mouth. It was solving a huge problem for people all over the world, especially in countries where sending a simple SMS text could be ridiculously expensive. WhatsApp made communication free, easy, and private. Now, that kind of explosive growth doesn't go unnoticed, and that brings us to the climax of this whole story, the full circle moment that took Jan Koum from the welfare line to a world he probably never even dreamed of. $19 billion. In 2014, Facebook, Yep, the same company that had rejected him bought WhatsApp for that staggering amount. It's still one of the largest tech acquisitions in history and just an incredible testament to the power of his simple, user-focused idea. But the story doesn't just end with a huge check. There was a fundamental clash of ideals. Koum's fierce commitment to privacy, born from his upbringing, just couldn't exist inside Facebook's business model, which is all about data and advertising. So, in an incredible act of integrity, he eventually walked away from it all, staying true to the principles that got him there. So, what are the big lessons from this incredible journey? It shows us that getting rejected can actually be an opportunity in disguise. It proves that our own personal experiences, especially the hard ones, can spark the most powerful ideas. It shows that simplicity and trust are huge assets. And it reminds us that pure persistence can take you way farther than any formal degree ever could. Jan Koum's whole story started because he was solving a problem he understood deeply, the need for private, reliable communication. So that leaves just one final question for you. What everyday problem in your life, born from your own experience, is just sitting there, waiting for a solution?